My role is People and Culture Director for Iconic Luxury Hotels. So whilst we have people managers in all of our properties, I oversee all of the functions. So that's actually close on 900 employees now.
And I'm the head of learning and development for Iconic, so working alongside Anita and from her guidance, and I am kind of overseeing all of the training and development for the collection.
I think it's a very positive experience. You know, John and I both together, we really like what it offers and probably fits things more accurate in developing people than other things that we may have used previously.
Yeah, it challenges, and quite a few other profiling systems don't do what this does. It makes you think about things differently. It makes you question development procedures, and we can go into more depth later, but instead of focusing on weaknesses, we can focus on strengths. And I know quite a lot of profiles show both, but you don't have to do both with this, and I just like the uniqueness of it.
Our continual challenges and things we want to work on is actually growing the best people and being the best place to work. And I do think that this tool does help us to grow our teams. And, we speak very positive about it and use it in our leadership programs. We've got our people and culture 2 days next week. We are using it as part of that, as some of the exercises that we're going to do, and to look at our strengths, but not necessarily our strengths as a people and culture group, to see how it works for us as a team. Would you agree with that, John?
Yeah, and we're just, as you said, we've got a very good foundation of everything we do well and a kind of like best in practice, and we're just going to keep on developing that, and don't stop and say wow, pat ourselves on the back and say look how good we are. We just need to keep on doing it and have that discipline to keep on developing, and TalentPredix we're using it in a way to help us develop to another level.
Like John said previously, there's lots of other tools out there that are probably based on behaviour and the way that what people want managing, etc. But when we're looking at how people, their talents that they believe that they have, and values, which is extremely important to me, I think that this gives a completely different context to what we've done previously. And I think everybody that we've actually shared it with is very excited by it. And knowing that we're using it at the moment on people who need to progress and want to progress, it's a real tool that people cling on to, because it is showing their work, their career. And I think that is what is so positive about it.
The interesting thing for me is this is purely individual. This is purely personal, individual, and you're not at the end of it put into a certain area or a certain group or a definition, which is, I think, very key.
Well, it's our leadership development program, so that is our heads of department. We also do it on our juniors, which are our deputy managers, and also our supervisory level. As I say, we've just done it now with our people team. So actually looking at a collection of the people that work together to have a look at what is the things that we need to improve on as a team, and which people want to grow to do that part. And I always talk about, if we don't all have to be good at one thing, as long as we actually can support it in that, and we've got a best in class amongst those people, then I think that's how it works. We are going to roll it out to our GMs in the new year. That is more about them understanding their team, if I'm really honest, because in order for them to understand what we require their team to do to grow and to be our successors into the business, I think the managers have to understand it. The general managers have to understand it.
Yeah, I don't have one individually, but there's a theme that's run through. I've done lots of debriefs now, and there's a theme that runs through all of them. And once again, it goes back to what I was saying before. It's letting the person go away thinking completely differently about themselves and how they perform. And the one thing that's got me in, and it's really relevant to our industry, what we do, is that because the industry is being ravaged with problems with staffing levels and everything else, that they're under a lot of pressure and they are surviving day to day operationally. And the interesting thing is when we're looking at all of their talent, it could be anything, all of those talents that they've got. The interesting thing is always they're highlighting that they're getting themselves into bother when they're using their talent in excess. And no other profile kind of highlights that, well, hold on, you're naturally resetting to your natural talent, your safety net, and what you're very good at, but you're overusing it, causing issues inside your operation. So it could be someone who's very analytical. It now becomes over analytical and is looking at things that are just far too much for everybody else around them. And it's that understanding, and it's as I say, it's the common thread that they get is take a breath, stop using. You're gifted at something. Don't overuse it. Don't over-egg the pudding. Don't dominate with your talent all the time. And it's this common thread that's going on. So I don't have an individual one, but I think I'd say over 90% of the debriefs I've done, there is an epiphany moment. There is this light bulb that goes above people's heads that, yeah, I do that every day. And that's a really good point. And yes, sometimes they put their hands up after the debrief saying, I can't stop it because I can't survive without it right now. And it's the honesty and the understanding and the feedback we're getting. Okay, well, I get that. Until you get more used to it or more support or an extra person who's come on mat leave or something, they're having to go back to that reset, and it's understanding when they can come out of that reset. And that's the big thing for us at the moment. Well, what I've been seeing.
I agree. I think there's two other things that I would say certainly is the talent resilience. I think that has come up much more than I would have thought previously, and I'm sure that is post-COVID why resilience is there, and it is something that we do talk about as a management team. So I think that, and the other thing is that used in the correct way, and I've said it at nearly everyone that I've done where I've actually debriefed most of the people team. That's because I had that conversation with John that I thought that was the best thing to do for myself. It does sort of become an appraisal, an unofficial appraisal, and therefore I think it helps you set those goals without knowing that that's the road that you're actually starting to go down, which takes me back to saying I've asked them now to go away and read them themselves. And yes, I know we're supposed to ask them to come back to us with an action plan, but I think it even more focuses on the fact that they can set themselves some goals. But those goals could be 6 weeks, 6 months, or a year. I don't mind, but I think it's actually keeping that TalentPredix alive through their daily working, if that makes sense. I think salary is always very important, and I think if people think salary isn't important to a job, I think they're deluding themselves. But I do think that now people also want to know what's in it for them as well when they join a company, and I think people do want to see that there's some development opportunities, and certainly we see that when we've got new people joining us. Which is one of the reasons why we're trying to focus on this career mapping on our new system, because John's done last year and the year before we actually have got this new system, we've still done a manual one where we start somebody off as a stillroom assistant and we show the journey till they can get to a head waiter over 2.5 years. So people actually want to see something that they do. So the fact that we can actually show people that we do these sort of things with TalentPredix, etc., I think it does show investment. And I think too often we do general induction, basic training with all those sort of things. We introduced the head of departments, and then John and I felt that the gap was this supervisory bit in the middle that we weren't investing anything in. So I do believe that now we actually talk about this, it's on our website, etc., and we're just in the middle of doing a new people website, which I think will be really positive. I do think that this is more what people want to know, that what's in it for them, and there is that. And certainly, I don't put it all down to TalentPredix because we haven't been doing it in that much detail for so long. But it's one of the tools that we're using. but our engagement is higher, and our retention is unbelievably better than last year, and we're ahead of the game with our competitors without question. So yeah, I do believe that we're doing something right.